Hey everybody, this is Peter Palmiotti, and my day 64 of my 100 days of making my anthology story, The Griffin. And I'm just getting set up. For whatever reason, um, my Hangouts live streaming wasn't working earlier today. Might have been due to my crappy internet, or had some Windows updates. Either way, I am functioning now. Dun, dun, dun. So let's see what we can do. All right. I'm not going to go too long. But I'll just get her started. Oops. All right. So how are you doing this fine Sunday evening? So this morning I was part of Marshall Lee's hangout, talking about some good people on YouTube that we all follow. He mentioned Mark Crilly has 5 million subscribers. I can't even fathom. Cannot even fathom what that would be like. You know, I have 600, give or take 10, at the moment. It's just wild, wild times. I am sort of being quiet. And I'm not checking chat. I'm actually just shocked that this is functioning now. And I set up another one for an hour from now. Um, this has just been crazy. To do these multiple hangouts a day. I don't know. I'm kind of crazy for doing it. Um, but we'll see. Just trying to get in gear and get on schedule. Um, so the hangout I had yesterday, I had Karen and Ronnie join in. That went 3 hours. um, and it's like I love doing these extended hangouts. Um, but I do have other work to catch up on. So we shall see. I'm kind of thinking, like, if I continue this rhythm of doing at least two a day, then by Thursday I'll be caught up. Because I was thinking, oh, I'll bang out 3 of these a day, and I don't know, two's enough. It's a lot of work. It's not just set it, go on air. Yeah, you might be able to tell I'm a little bit exhausted. I wish it was working earlier. Spent like an hour just fiddling around with it. Just cut it into my day. And time I was done with that, I was hungry. I had to continue cleaning the house. But the title of my last video is Hard Work Pays Off, so. We'll see if that's true. Where am I? I'm off camera. I'm off camera, aren't I? I was thinking just with this episode, I'll get a little caught up. And next episode, I'll talk about inking. So, see how much I can do. Dun, 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 dun. So it's finally a really nice day over here. The cats were going nuts earlier, which I guess also wore me out. Let me go CC. I'm gonna have trouble, maybe. Hey, Ronnie. Hello, Tim. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Little wonder whether the pollen rate is high. I understand. And you love the lettering? Cool. I'm not a letterer, but I really wanted to do that. You know, I guess I could, turn out some cool lettering once in a while. If you ever seen my character Retro, his logo, I came up with the sort of look of it. It's almost exactly what I drew. I had somebody professional do it in not Photoshop, the other program. Because that I don't know how to do. But yeah, that was fun. So this is page 1. I've had a ton of inking inspirations. Influences. One of my earliest is Bernie Wrightson. Definitely his work on Frankenstein, but also his work on Swamp Thing. But I've pretty much anybody who's ever inked. um, but Al Williamson was another. I met both of them, but Bernie was in he had his mind and other things. I said hello, and he just looked past me. But Al Williamson, I got to sit down with him for lunch or something, and he was just like all smiles and telling stories of back in the day, and he's super talented. He's like, yeah, artist and inker, and all around real nice guy. And of course, he worked with Frank Frazetta. But like, I love. I mean, I follow everybody who was working at Marvel back in late '60s, '70s, '80s. For sure. And Klaus Janson was a big influence. Terry Austin, who never gets enough credit, was a phenomenal inker. Even people like Dan Green, Al Mingram. Um, then you look at like Savage Sword of Conan, Rui Nebris, even Ernie Chan. Of course, I don't know, did John Buscema ever ink himself? I think he did. He was definitely an excellent penciler. Barry Smith. So many. But one of my other influences was Pete Craig Russell. And he did some Sandman stories for DC, but I knew him at Marvel. He worked on Killraven back in the day. Um, yeah, he had more of a superhero comic style back then. Yeah, originally when I first started inking comic books, I was only brush, and I had to force myself to learn quill. And I'm glad I did. Quill can get a little messy and scratchy, but you could do clean work with it too. I'm not sure like what Terry Austin used, but it's quite possible he used a quill. Or he could have just used a one thickness repeater griff. Now everybody uses like brush markers, and lots of people do digital. So my thought is that I'm just going in here and throwing down lines, and once I get enough going on, I'll erase the pencils behind it and reevaluate how effective I've been. Okay, so that's gonna be. So this will be overlooking the side of a mountain, and then there'll be mist behind it. So yeah, I do want to use a brush to throw down a lot more of the bigger lines. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Always nice to hear stories about the people behind the art. Ronnie says. Yep. um. Yeah, it became quiet, but yeah, man. Al Williamson was a big influence. He did, back in the day, there weren't many good comic book adaptions of movies. Um, it was almost like, well, movies coming out, and we'll make this comic based on the movie, and it will, it will automatically sell, which is a lot of times the case. Um, but usually they aren't in the adaptions was pretty bad. Um, with the exception of a few back then. But definitely Al Williamson did. I don't know if he did Star Wars, but he definitely did Empire Strikes Back, and that was just gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Very detailed, very true to the movie. I just loved that work, and he did a lot of. I don't know if he did newspaper strips or something, maybe of Star Wars at the time. I forget exactly, but his work was pretty amazing. Some other great examples of good movie comic book adaptations were Outland. I don't know if anybody remembers that Sean Connery movie, um, but Jim Stranko, who is a fantastic comic book artist, who also hasn't done a hell of a lot of comics, um, he did the movie adaptation of that. It was very different graphic style, like double page spread and lots of tiny panels, and oh man, it was just intricate as hell. A lot of people were put off by it, but I loved it. Then my final good example was Walt Simonson's Alien adaptation, and Walt Simonson a little like dirtiest style for the adaptation. That was really cool. So my goal for this work is to get really dirty. um, so just go nuts, and if something doesn't work, I could always do it over. Worst case scenario, I don't have an undo button, but I can do panels over. But what I like to do is, like, just attempt to go in and clean it up. Like, if you go over lines a certain way, you could kind of sort of just make it look better. If that doesn't work, then you can take out your X-Acto blade and clean up a page that way. Scratch out some of the black lines. But the benefit of, like, I can get the page scan and go into our program and really clean up things that way too. Although, I want the artwork to be authentically on track. I mentioned, is it Howard Pyle, the illustrator, 18th century, 17th century illustrator? Yeah, my work isn't going to be as gorgeous as his, but I am attempting to stretch my work a little. I think a lot of us are in the group and part of this anthology project. I can go for the standard, just clean lines and clean illustrations, but I want to sort of bring it to a different level, at least in my head. So we'll see where it takes me. Alright. Alright, because I'm going to be back again in less than a half hour. I'm going to leave it here for this hangout. Sorry it's so short. But I thank you all for watching. And yeah, come back 7:30. I'll be here again. Take care.